Welcome back to another exciting adventure of Red Hen Radio. I'm your host, Travis Finley. This is part 2 of my interview with Daniel, or Deathstroke 9 of Dicon Dissectional Productions. Just so happens that Daniel has now breached 3,000 subs, so a fantastic congratulations to him. When I did my interview, I think he was around 1,700. He passed that at 2,000, had a stream. Tonight, he's going to have a stream to celebrate the 3,000 Legion that is still growing strong. So thanks to everybody who is supporting Daniel, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this interview. And there's a little surprise at the end, so stick around. If you remember from the last interview, we left you with a cliffhanger asking Daniel to give us some little juicy tidbit about himself that no one else knows. So Daniel, what do you got for us?
I guess a good answer for this one would be that it has to do a little bit with genres of music. So most people who know me would assume that my least favorite genres of music would be either like modern day pop or rap music, or like super oldie stuff from like the 50s and stuff like that. I don't know why they get that, but that's been another guess sometimes. Just because, I don't know, I say all the time, my favorite genre of music is metal, and now my second favorite genre is like progressive, or progressive rock and metal. Pretty much everything that came out of the 70s so far that we've been listening to on the channel has been incredible. But my least favorite genre of music is actually a genre of metal called death metal. I hate it so much. Maybe one day it'll grow on me. Who knows? But for whatever reason, and no one knows this about me, most people think it's pop music that I can't stand. But there are some catchy pop songs. There are some good old rap music. There's even a couple artists in the rap industry today that I don't mind. But when it comes to death metal or the super hardcore screamo metal or whatever you want to call it, I cannot listen to it. I cannot stand it. I think a group called Cannibal Corpse has like one okay song to me personally. And maybe one day it'll grow on me, but currently my most hated genre of music is actually called death metal.
All right, let's keep going. All right, so now you have talked about writing and acting, and I don't think you've really touched too much about what you've written on per se, but can you maybe just unpack a little bit about those two passions that you have?
All right, so for writing, there are two screenplays that are my main screenplays, okay? There's like 20 others, 10, 15, 20 pages that I started, and it just kind of went off of. But there are two that I've been sticking with, and that one of them actually relates to tabletop role-playing games, so I'm very invested in them. Then I've tried to write a book multiple times. I've tried to start and complete a book. I once made a first draft of a book. It was like 100 pages long. I was never able to really finish anything, so I finally decided, you know what, I'm going to try something a little bit easier. So right now, my current biggest project probably for writing is I'm writing a series of short stories, which are all connected to each other, all have hidden meanings in them, all have different points and allusions to different things, and they're all taking place in the same township, and they're all being narrated by the same guy, whose name is Daniel. Yeah, I'm putting a lot of myself into this project, and I'm very invested in it, so I'm excited about this one. And I've also thought before that if I was to ever make music myself, I'd try to make songs that could go with the collection of short stories that I'm currently writing. So there's a little food for thought, I guess I'm saying this in a video hoping that it'll motivate me to continue working on it.
Sure. Yeah, you bet.
So for acting, so we got into acting. I've been an extra in the two main big things, Hunger Games 3 and Stranger Things. Okay, I was an extra in both of those.
Oh,
A
really?
lot of,
Which
yes.
season in Stranger Things?
The very first season, episode 4, I'm in. You can barely see me at all, but I'm in the scene where they tell the class that Will has passed away, or not passed away, but that he's missing. Basically, there's like a bleacher full of kids. I was up in the far right of it, of the bleachers, and yeah, it was an interesting experience. And then I was also in the scene where, what's his name? The bully like pees himself or whatever. 11 makes him, or yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in this. I'm one of the kids in the crowd. Then I was in a short film which you can find on YouTube. It's very hard to find on YouTube. I don't know why. I'll like try to find it and I can't. But the name of it's like From the Other Room. It's a Halloween horror short film, and I was one of the 2 main characters. There were only 2 characters in it. And then I've been in some other stuff since then. I've been a lead in an independent educational thing written, directed, and mostly produced by Lee Fanning, who keeps bringing me back as a reoccurring role as one of the main characters in this series of shows called like The Shock Losers, which I guess you could think kind of, I don't know, Sandlot a little bit, but with educational content thrown in there, because this is supposed to be for museums and teaching kids stuff about like Newton's laws of gravity, but it's yeah. I've been in quite a few of those. They just made a feature-length movie, which I don't know exactly when the final cut is going to come out, but we went and saw it, and it was really, really, really cool to see yourself on this project that so many other people have worked on. It was a very interesting experience. I actually just got back from set a little while ago. If you watch my video, Twilight Zone reaction, I say right at the beginning, you're watching me from the past, but in the future, I think. It's because when I went to set, I pre-recorded like 5 or 6 videos and made them go and scheduled them to go up as time went on. But anyway, yeah, so it would take me a while to go over all the different things about my acting, and that could be a whole other interview, basically. But let's just say I have a passion for it. I love creating stories. That is my ultimate passion for anything, is figuring things out and in terms of what writers or artists are trying to convey and creating stories. Any type of story. That's why I love tabletop role-playing games so much. That's why I love writing so much. That's why I like acting. I want one career path I have considered, although I have quite a few others, which is one of the reasons I wanted to try and make a company that could kind of help me produce all of these things. But one career path I've considered is to be like a director or screenplay writer. But anyway, yeah.
Hey, that's what this is all about, getting to know you, and I think that everyone is enjoying hearing about your passions and the way you think and what motivates you. So this is fantastic stuff. I really appreciate you taking the time to share this with us.
Oh, no problem. I'm very, very, very honored that you would ask
Well,
me.
hey, listen. You were my muse. You were my motivation because, like I said, I had the intention with my channel here, Red Hen Radio, was to interview content providers or content creators. And a lot of it was I was watching videos where I had questions about the content that they were putting out in this episode or that episode, and they weren't getting addressed. And that's not any, I mean, you can't say everything, right? Otherwise you'd have a 10-hour stream. But so what I thought was, what if I try to interview these? Now, the one thing that put me back was trying to line up these interviews just because everybody's schedule is hectic and whatnot. So that was a bit of a detriment. So then bringing it all right back, I had thought about it with Jamel and Alex and Andy, and I thought, what would be interesting, because these guys are doing these shows, I think their audience would really enjoy seeing them kind of, you're in the exact same room where you do your show, but this is a behind the scenes kind of a thing, Yeah. And so anyway, I think for some reason this last week, something you said just triggered me, and I thought I am going to do that. I'm going to see if he'd be willing to do this, and maybe I'll get a jump start back to my motivation to doing Red Hen Radio and see where it goes from there. So, thank you.
Okay. I'm still gonna say thank you though until the end of time because it's
All right.
a pretty novel experience for me to have someone ask me to interview them. I've done an interview once before on my Deathstruck 9 channel with a man named Dennis. He makes a line of games called Delta Green, I think we got 30 minutes. I got 30 minutes. I wrote out a list of questions. I was super nervous, but I think it went pretty well, so it was pretty fun. So,
good.
Yeah, it's a fun job to interview people.
Yeah, no, it is. It's I think that as long as, and one of the things that impressed me, and I think that this comes with your acting gene, that is that you are a very expressive host. You, I absolutely love, and I would venture to say that 95% of your intros just bring a smile to my face, because I appreciate your creativity and your your lack of inhibition to change your voice.
So you say lack of inhibition. So what that makes me think of is what gives people that inhibition? In general, wouldn't that be caring about what other people think, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I was very much someone who didn't care what people thought. Yeah.
If you think about it in an objective way, the people who don't create content, the people who don't put themselves out there, no one will ever say a hateful comment to them. No one's ever gonna, say something stupid to them or say they dislike their work. If someone ever is hating on you, you know what that means? That you're trying. If ever someone says something, oh, your content sucks, or whatever it could possibly be, oh, I dislike the way you're doing this, at least you're doing something. The people who hate on other people are the ones who never were able to figure out how to do something with their life. They're the ones that...
Yeah, it's a schoolyard bully contrast.
Sure, yeah. They're the ones who just kind of... They kind of wasted a lot of their chances, and they're watching someone else try to take advantage of their opportunities or whatever. And they're just... So you're making YouTube videos, you have multiple channels. I'm trying to put myself out there any way I possibly can, because that's just part of being an actor in general. For film, you kind of become like on the internet, a lot of people try to guard their identity and stuff. I really don't have the option to do that. Plus, I don't mind if people know my name or how old I am or whatever. As shown in my videos, when I pretty much say, "Hi everyone, I'm Daniel. I'm 16." But yeah, if you're getting any type of negative feedback, it means that there was something there that people were able to give feedback on in the first place. It means that you put something out there. It means that you worked on something, and it means you put something.
Yeah. There's one of my channel that I put most of my efforts in, and I get the most flack on. I have started to shut down the comments, because the topic that I cover is so important to me that even though I know I'm getting trolled, I still want the content to get out there. So if I get told that I don't know what I'm talking about, or that I should go back to remedial community college and learn physics the way that any normal person would, to me those aren't constructive criticisms. They are the comments of a bully who has no content behind his criticism. He
has no claims to back himself up.
Yeah. And I say, okay, great. So what is it that I can improve on? Nothing. Crickets. You don't want to. All you want to do is lob a grenade and then run away.
Yep.
So, but I find that because I care so much about the topic, that I actually waste a lot of energy responding to trolls. So the one thing that I thought was, I'm just going to have to cut off the comments. Just going to have to cut them off. And so that's what I started doing, and I started putting in my my description for the videos. If you want to have correspondence, if you want to give me feedback, here's my email address.
Oh, okay.
So if you're serious, if you want to have a conversation about how to make this better, or how to, if I've got something wrong, then by all means make a comment. And I'll tell you, I haven't gotten an email from a troll yet.
Nice.
All right, now you put in a caveat after I sent you these questions, and you said, I think that I might have to regulate my comment on this, but I don't want you to. But I'm gonna leave it up to you. Obviously, you can respond to this any way you want, but I actually want to just hear your thoughts on this, and if you can,
I'll try to be as open as I possibly can.
Sure. All right. So, in a recent Rage Against the Machine reaction, you say, just in passing in your comments, but it's something that hit my antenna. You said that social changes are happening slowly.
Yep.
And I'm asking you to elaborate on that. What is it that you see?
Yeah. There are social changes happening right now. And so something about my own content and my own stuff is I don't really want to politicize too much. So I'm going to keep politics out of it and just say, if you look at the state of the world right now and the different things that have been kind of making certain problems worse than they already were, by making those problems worse, we are now being shown that we need to take steps to rectify those problems. So right now there are a lot of different movements fighting for equality, fighting for more representation for different groups of people that might not have had representation before, or who might have been persecuted cruelly, or had all these horrible things in history happen to them because they don't think about things the same way we do, or they look different than us, or different people. And I mentioned this in my us and them reaction. I said there's this group thinking mentality, and I think group thinking, or feeling attached to a group of people because you agree with them, is great. But when you feel so attached to a group of people that you agree with that you're gonna hate everybody outside your little group, then you've got a huge problem, because people are very complex. It's just a fact of life. People have more than one defining trait. If someone says if someone looks a certain way, or if someone says, I am this, that doesn't mean that that's all they are. They have so many other things to them. I've had conversations online with Satanists before. Like constructive conversations where we can put aside any differences we might have to talk about things that we might think are similar. To talk about the things that we both enjoy that are the same, So in the world today, light is being shed on a lot of problems that people have been ignoring for hundreds of years, either because they're evil, or people have been ignoring because they are just very horrible people, or they've been ignoring them because they're just ignorant of them. Like it took us so long to just even allow women to vote. Why? One of the main reasons for that was because, well, here's the way it's always been done. We're just going to keep chugging along doing it this way. But then that's America is supposed to be the land of the free. Everyone's supposed to have equal, or as equal of opportunities as we can possibly provide. Obviously, people are born in different situations. In my video for Rush, which video was it? It's either Free Will, I think, maybe, where I say that I think human beings have free will to control their own lives. I got a few different comments which made me think about that statement, all right? And these comments were along the lines of, you're not even taking into consideration how someone is born, where they're born, what they're born with, what different things they have, right? So the free will we have is to make the best of what we have. We can't control outside forces. We can only control what we do, you know? Even if someone, so for example, like an example of this would be if someone has depression or something like that, you know, or some mental illness, or they're born in a low income family. They don't, and then they're saying they don't have the same opportunities as everybody else. That is true, and that's something that is probably a issue that will be debated till the end of time, because there are two alternatives. There are two, at least to my thinking. There's a more socialist. I don't know exactly if I'm using these terms right. There's a more socialist or communist, I don't know exactly how you call it, mindset of everyone's going to be given the exact same amount of everything. Or there's super capitalist, which would be more along the line, or more along the lines of people are able to increase, and by their freedom to increase, they're also a lot of times will decrease other people's what they have, you know. And because of that, there are problems. There are integral problems with both systems. There's almost nothing we can do about that. We just kind of we've got to pick our devil, you know. Maybe one day someone will figure out a better system. To my way of thinking, the only perfect system would be only one person ever, you know, only one person. Then they can do whatever they want, you know, until a meteorite comes out of the sky and hits them, and then they're dead too. So other than that, we just got to learn to get along with each other and try to help each other as much as possible. I do not think a government regulating everything so that everything is exactly the same for everybody, where there's no way to increase or decrease, is a very good idea, because that means that there is still someone with all the power in that situation. Probably a lot more power than they had before in the more capitalist idea. But in the capitalist idea, there are people who have way less than other people who have an obscene amount and sit on their pedestal and don't contribute to society in any way, which bothers me too. Or there'll be people born into families that with rich people who have money to their name already, and then now they're born with all of this mountain of wealth or whatever to their name, and they might not be worthy of it. They didn't work for it, you know? So there's a lot of things to consider, but I think I've gone off a little bit on a tangent on this, and I guess my ending point is I think that that we are moving toward a more loving community, a more loving state of mind, a more accepting state of mind, where we can allow other things that don't align perfectly with what we think is, you know, ideal, and they're not hurting anybody else, so they should be able to live their life the way they want to. And I'm hoping, might be being a little bit idealistic here, but I'm hoping maybe, just maybe, humanity can start to see that that's the best we can do. Live and let live, you know? That's probably the best life philosophy to live by. Obviously, there are exceptions to this, such as if what they're doing is directly hurting people. So there are lots and lots of things to consider. But in response to my comment, to me personally, what I've seen in the world recently, which admittedly isn't a ton, I'm not out all the time. I haven't been out in a while because of coronavirus. But from what I've been seeing, social change is slowly but surely coming into place, where different groups are getting a voice where before they were persecuted when they shouldn't have been, which I think is awesome and grand steps in the right direction for humanity. Yippee for us.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks for sharing. All right. So I think I might know the answer to this, but I could be wrong. Which song has had the most emotional impact on you?
Emotional?
Yeah.
The most emotional impact. Okay. There were a few, but you know what? A lot of the storytelling songs that we listened to by like Harry Chapin and Jim Croce were extremely like I almost cried on a few of those. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Let me think about this. So both Operator and Cats in the Cradle basically made me cry. And is that what we're looking for? An emotional
Yep.
impact? Yeah.
Yep.
I'm trying to think which one more. Maybe Cats in the Cradle might have been a little bit more. Maybe.
Yeah, listen, I have heard that song over and over and over again. As a matter of fact, I have the original live album that's it's a 2-album set, and I grew up in the 80s listening to that album over and over and over again, just because the storytelling was just absolutely fantastic. But not only that, but the live performance, I think, is so much more expressive of who Harry Chapin was as an entertainer, because he interacts with his audience and he has them laughing so many times, almost like an Arlo Guthrie kind of, but not as I would say Arlo was pretty tedious.
Long-winded.
Yeah, but I have never felt that Harry Chapin was tedious. But yeah, so yeah, that's what I was looking for in terms of the emotional. You know, there are so many, like Creep. For me, Creep was an emotional song. Man in the Box is an emotional song.
Who did that? Who did that? Was that Alice in Chains? Yeah.
There was another song in the late 90s that was along those lines. Which one was it? It was on the tip of my tongue. It was Man in the Box, Creep. The song I was trying to remember is Save Yourself by Stabbing Westward. All right, so let's keep that same thread. Which song has had the most stylistic impact on you?
It was a full album. That was one song. So, yeah. Thick as a Brick by Jethro Tull has blown my mind so much. Everything about it. I love the lyricism. I love the storytelling. I love the imagery that it conjures. I loved the music. Another interesting one would probably be Inagata Davida by Iron Butterfly. I don't know what is it about that song, but I've gone back to that song over and over again just to listen to it. It's like a freaking 18-minute long song. Same to Thick as a Brick was like a 40-minute long song, which was really a whole album. Yeah, I don't know. They've definitely stuck with me. Although a lot of the different music I've been listening to has stayed with me. Obviously, there's a few that might get lost in the shuffle, or I'll be like, okay, this is kind of cool, but not some. There might be other songs that fit the same type of needs or stuff that I'm just like, I probably won't listen to that again. But yeah, probably Thick as a Brick, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. There's been so much though. There's been a lot.
All right. Now, how about the song that has had the most, that has impressed you lyrically?
Probably something by Rush, actually. Rush's lyrics have been impressing me a lot. They're not super veiled, you know? They're not like... It's not like I'm listening to Nirvana or something like that. Like, I know what the songs are about when I'm listening to them. But they just make you think, and they're so deep, even if they are straightforward lyrics with Rush. So it might have... Yeah, wait a minute. Okay, it might be Limelight. And this song isn't even that insane. You know, like the song Limelight by Rush is not even that... it's not like about social issues. It's not about politics. It's not about really spirituality. It just so encapsulates my thoughts as a creator, and that's my passion in life, you know? So that song blew my mind, and it was so perfectly timed when I reacted to it. I had just gotten back from set, and I was very emotionally down at that time. I don't want to get too into it, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was just thinking about, I don't know. I was just wishing I could be creating stuff always. Like, I was like, man, I'm back from set. I want to be back. I want to go back already. Like, I want to keep being a part of the awesome community and with all these people and creating stuff and just living out my passion. So then I listened to Limelight, and it was like so powerful when I heard it. So yeah, that's probably one of the songs that impressed me most lyrically. A lot of Rush's music has impressed me lyrically. And then again, I would bring it back to Thick as a Brick, which is one of my favorite things I've reacted to on the channel so far, because again, that impressed me a lot lyrically as well. And I guess one last note is the Storyteller songs have been impressing me just in the way that they let you know the context without really saying the context. They show, they don't tell. If you know what I mean.
Yep.
They'll like throw in just a little tiny line that, like, when like Jim Croce said she moved away with my ex-best friend in Operator.
Mm-hmm.
That one line just shows so much about, all right, so his best friend like stole his girl from him, you know, or at least in my interpretation of it.
Yeah.
And that shows so like years of probably fighting, pain, different emotions that he's gone through. So the way those songs have been structured have also impressed me a lot as well. But yeah, probably Rush Limelight is the number one. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. All right, we're winding down toward the end. For you, what makes music great?
What makes music great is when it's cohesive, when it's complex, when it has artistic values driving it. Like when a song when a song sounds like it's made for radio, you know, like this is such a verse, chorus, chorus, or chorus, bridge, chorus, or whatever, and it's like each line is just about some very generic love song or something like that, and the music is a basic 3-chord structure or something like that. That's a fine song to have in the background, a fine song to be an earworm, but it's not, to me, not great music. I do enjoy complexity in music, and I do enjoy when music changes up on me. However, when a song changes, especially in the prog genre, can have as many changes, so many different changes. And sometimes it's a little bit abrasive, and it's better, to me personally, when a song has changes in dynamics, or in the way, or in different riffs and stuff, or might even feel like it completely switched genres on me for a second. But when it makes sense to do it, if that makes any sense, when it's still cohesive to the story or what the song's trying to tell. For instance, and this is a pretty random example, but there is a song by a group, and I'm pretty sure I might have mentioned that I've heard this. Yeah, I've heard this song before, quite a few times. One of the things that got me into this group, which is why I wanted to react to them a little bit on the channel. There's a group, I think they're kind of classified as new metal, called System of a Down. They have a song called Bring Your Own Bombs, or BYOB. In that song, they basically say they say a lot of things in that song. Lots of political stuff in that song. But one specific thing is they say something along the lines of, going to war, propaganda makes it look like it's a big party for everybody. But really, it's insane, it's horrible, and they're sending you to die for their amusement or for them to gain more power or whatever. Okay, so that's kind of one of the driving things of the song. So in the song, there's a dynamic change where he's yelling about politics and saying, where the F are the people who sent us to war? Why aren't they here? And it's super angry, fast, crazy music. Then it gets to the party part of the song where it's trying to show the propaganda part or whatever, and it goes, the entire song's dynamic changes to like a almost happy sounding groove track. They've got vocalizing harmonies, and before they were yelling and screaming, and now they're everybody's going to the party, have a real good time, you know. And it's that type of change in dynamic, which is so abrasive and disruptive or whatever, works very well when it's driving a point home or telling a story. But sometimes bands overdo it. And I guess I'm going to end this because this is a lot of my personal opinions on this, all right? So I guess I'm going to end it by saying, here's the main thing to me that makes music better so we're listening to music from the 70s, so music from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, music from the 90s, you know, you can watch how music has evolved, and it has not evolved very much artistically. There are groups that push their boundaries and make artistic stuff, but the mainstream music has not evolved artistically, it has evolved commercially. And so the biggest thing today that makes current mainstream music not the greatest in the world, at least the majority of it, is that we've figured out the money is in the person. All right? So groups can have their artistic ideals, but at the end of the day, artistic ideals, things like Dark Side of the Moon, things that take a long time, things that are deep, right? Not everybody's deep. There are people who are deep in certain areas. They know a lot about certain things. They're shallow about other things. There are people who just don't care or don't want to expend the brain power to figure out Dark Side of the Moon or something like that. You know, they'd much rather, especially not for music. Maybe they think that way about books, but not music. Music is most accessible and most easily sellable when it's simple, when the message is relatable or very universal, which is why we have all of these love songs coming out, all of these, we've got some type of power, we're going to fight. We're not really sure what we're fighting against. We're not really sure what we're fighting for. We just know we've got some type of upbeat energy in the song. And the biggest thing that we're selling today is icons. We're selling names. We're not selling bands. We're selling names. So the biggest chart-topping people in the world, you've got Taylor Swift, you've got Cardi B, you have Kanye West, you have people's names. They're kind of solo artists who sometimes work with different people, and their main thing is not that they have incredible or super complex music, but it's that their fans are getting to know them through their art, you know? And it's all centered on building their image as opposed to building an artistic image or building a band image, which I think is something that the music industry has slowly been turning toward as time goes on. And obviously that's a huge generalization. There's all types of independent music out there that's great. There's all types of, even there's still some today, there's still some groups that make chart-topping awesomeness. For example, Tool, Fear Inoculum was the #1 song on the Billboard. Not the #1 song, #1 album, okay? It beat Taylor Swift's Lover album. There were a few reasons why that happened. Tool finally released their stuff on all streaming services, which they hadn't done up to that point till 2019. And they released all of their stuff all in a bombshell type deal. They released everything is all out on all streaming platforms, and they have an official YouTube page and all this cool stuff. So their album managed to chart. So it shows that there is still some. And obviously I'm biased, I think Tool's awesome, but it shows that there is still a market out there sometimes for more art-related endeavors.
I'm not really sure that I would classify you as biased if you appreciate Tool over Taylor Swift. I don't think that's biased.
there is objectively more complex music, but what people enjoy is subjective. Music and enjoyment level, or what people like, is subjective, but then what's complex, or what's according to music theory pleasing to the ear, is pretty objective. There's two sides to West. And then if you look at what those people do, Kanye West and his birthday party running for president or whatever, they're, to me at least, I don't know what other people think about it, but to me it's like publicity, you know? It's like publicity stunt, you might call it, or whatever. It's all about the figure that they are representing, and as opposed to being about the artistic expression, which is what it kind of used to be, at least in the mainstream, at least in my opinion. My opinion.
There's a lyric from this obscure song. You might not know it. It goes, "All the world's a stage, and we are merely players."
That's a pretty obscure song.
Yeah, you might have heard. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
All right.
Is that Shakespeare?
Well,
in addition to being from something else.
Yeah. All right. So finally, what comments have made the biggest impression on you?
All right. So we got first the Steely Dan crowd. Okay. Those songs are very, I guess a good word would be esoteric. There's a lot of esoteric knowledge, and there's a lot of specific knowledge where you need to, they reference things that happened to them in their lives, or that were in the area that they generally lived in, or just very specific things that I wouldn't get, you know? And the people who really love Steely Dan have often very much shown me all of the intricacies of their lyrics, which makes me like them even more, other than the fact that their music is just smooth as all hell. So but yeah, so that's one. This is kind of a joke, but let's just say it anyway. Someone commented recently saying, here's a lesser known fact, but Ian Anderson and John Anderson are brothers. It was I believed them, and I was like, what? So John Anderson, I think his name's John Anderson, right?
Yes.
Of Yes, and Jethro Tull. And then multiple people commented under me saying, no, that's a complete lie. That comment for about 15 minutes blew my mind. Very much so. I was like, ah! All right. But then, and this isn't necessarily in terms of informative, but the comments that blow my mind the most are comments of people telling me something along the lines of, I'm 50, I'm 60, 40, whatever, years old, okay? And your videos have been, I'm loving your insights into the songs. I've been listening to this music for 20, 30, many years now. And hearing you listen to the music of my youth is incredible. They'll be like, they'll say the nicest things probably anyone's ever said about me. And I'm just like, I'm blown away at, first of all, how kind someone was to sit down and actually type all that out, you know? Like, it brings me such verification in myself in what I'm doing when someone says something like that, and I'm like, obviously I'm doing something right then, you know? If I can bring one person if I can have one person tell me this made my day, then that video accomplished its purpose, you know? And it's an incredible feeling, which I wouldn't trade for anything, when someone tells me that my content helped them, or they're like, I'm starting to look forward to your videos every day, or something like, or sometimes there'll be sad comments where they'll say something along the lines of, I think, my daughter loves your videos. She has some type of, she has something where that is stopping her from being able to do a lot of things other people are able to do. And she loves music, and she's been watching your videos for a while, and she really enjoys it and wanted to say thank you or something like that. And it's like, yeah, it's time for me to start crying now, you know? So,
well, I want to follow up on that just real quick, because I think that you, and I'll edit this out if I'm misremembering, didn't you react to someone that I used to know?
Somebody that I used to know. Yes, I did. Yeah.
So you said something in your interpretation that impressed me, because there was a line in there where the girl sings her part, and she says that you told me that you wouldn't get hung up on someone that you used to know.
Okay.
And until your reaction, I had always had a hiccup in the back of my mind with that lyric, because it didn't make sense to me. I thought I understood it, but even though I thought I understood it, it was still very just this every time I would sing it, or every time I would listen to it sung, that part would always be like hiccup, like just boom, boom, just something.
What? Yeah.
And your take on it, I was just like, wow, I think this kid just totally unlocked that puzzle for me. And that's fantastic, good. So
thank you. Yeah, that song actually has, I don't know if I even went over it in that video, but there were even more interesting things about that song, like the main character's fascination with the end, which shows that he's just kind of a self-destructive person in general, and he's probably on his 7th maybe relationship, and he just keeps cheating himself out of relationships almost by telling, like, it's always, that was love and it's an ache I still remember, a fascination with the end, always the end, and then getting mad at them when he's the one who keeps mooning over the last one. Almost, that's a very interesting song. I listened to it a few more times, even though it's not the type of music I generally normally listen to. It was still, I guess you could say, it grew on me a little bit. My dad told me that reaction, first of all, he was like, did my son sell out? That was the first thing he told me he thought. Second, he nearly died laughing listening to the video and just my reaction to this song Mom had me listening to. So yeah. Anyway.
No, I mean, I enjoy the song itself. Again, it's a tough, the emotional existential connection to songs that we have. Cat's in the Cradle for you, right? So you're not a dad.
Nope.
So you don't have a father's existential connection to it, but nonetheless, it still touched you, right? So
I put myself in the situation. I imagined I was a dad, I guess, for a second.
Yeah.
I just thought of how I would feel, or I guess maybe I related it to something else in my life, where how I would feel if it's like, it's freaking heart wrenching, like a punch in the gut. That song,
yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, I think one of the things that I appreciate, that I have never had a critical thought about your analyses because of your age. So I've never thought, like, say for instance, somebody, you're at a party and you've got kids, and someone comes up who's never had kids, and they give you advice on how to raise a child. You're like, hey, listen, buddy, you don't even have kids, so you have no business saying anything. So what I mean is that even though you have only 16 years of experience,
very, very limited life experience, limited.
No, I know, but don't downplay that, because a lot of your insights I have agreed with, even though you have and I don't mean this negatively, an immature, that is, you're young, right? You're still young, but your ability, and I would actually contribute, because I've thought about this when I'm listening to you. The dynamic of your family structure, to me, I think it seems that you have a very healthy, open communication with your parents. that I think that you probably have a lot of the wisdom that you talk about on your show that actually comes from that influence.
Yeah, so with that, there, yes, it was like that for a very long time. Then there was like maybe a year or 2 years where I did the general teenage thing, and kind of, was an idiot.
Yeah, but that doesn't turn off your ability to.
Not at all.
It
did not turn off their influence from the past at all. But we've, in recent, I guess in the last year, maybe 2 years, it's come back together, probably closer than it was before. So it's been going. That's been cool. It's very helpful to have support like that when there's so many other pressures and hardships and things going on in life. But anyway. Yes,
very
hopefully, good. Thanks to my mom and dad. Mom and dad, and probably a lot of literature has helped me. I guess one thing is like recognizing patterns, which I think everybody should do, and I'm pretty sure most people probably do. But just kind of analyzing the way you think about things, and also recognizing the relatability in certain things for people, which great storytellers like Harry Chapin managed to do with a song like Cats in the Cradle. When you hear that song, you immediately think, wow, like this is real. Even if you haven't had it happen to you, I bet, how many people do you think that song was relatable to? You know?
Yeah.
And it's only once you realize that 100 million other people in the world feel the exact same way you as a father with, I don't mean you, I mean like a person listening to the song. You as a father with a son who, you didn't have time for because of work or whatever, then he grew up and now he's gone and now he doesn't have time for you because of work. And now
well, you know what's interesting along those lines, because I've had 5 children, and the interesting thing about that song is I've had times in my parenting where I've said no to my child because I was already doing something. Hey, Dad, can we do this? And every single time, even if it's justified, right? Now, you can be someone who's a neglectful parent, who's absolutely on the farthest end of the spectrum, who does not pay attention to their child at all. And then you've got that spectrum that goes both ways. So even though there were times when I really couldn't do it because I had to get this done, that song was always still in the back of my head. No matter what, you just said no to your child. And I'm like, yeah, but this, But at the same time, there were times when that song preempted a no. Whereas because I was being lazy at that time, I want to say no, but the kid's got a football, or the kid's got his bubbles, or the kid's got his roller skates, and it's like, I can't not say no. I can't not say no. I have to.
So then the song achieved its purpose.
Right. Yeah. But it's a healthy balance. It's a healthy balance. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say no, but just don't do it all the time.
Yeah. And I might have mentioned that before on my videos, but I think balance is extremely important because, a lot of times extremes can mess things up a lot. It's interesting. It's very interesting to me how people react to things, and a lot of people look at things in a very black and white way, and it'll be like, all right, so. And I think I touched on that in that video, the Cats in the Cradle video, but it was something along the lines of, so now that son goes on and he tries to be a better father for his kids, and then his kids feel like he's spending way too much time with them or something like that.
Right.
Yep. It's
I remember you talking about that balance part, and I was laughing at myself because that's it. And having 5 kids, we were much, much more strict and regimented with the first 3. Or even the first one. My oldest, we were black and white. We were black and white. And then we got a little bit more gray, a little bit more gray, And then by the fifth child, we had completely almost not done anything similar to than we did with the first one.
Trial and error, my friend.
So yeah, right, and you had said something about that in your response about, I think it was you, knowing something ahead of time. If you knew ahead of time how you were gonna be able to.
I think that was in the Styx video, Crystal Ball. Yeah.
Okay, Crystal Ball.
Yeah,
that's what. Yeah.
How would you react differently if you knew ahead of time? Are you just going to do the opposite and screw it up anyway? Still.
Yeah, that's it.
And just that entire my way of thinking along those lines has led me to believe that balance is very important, and that sometimes extremes are cool for a little while, but they don't ever stay stuck in an extreme ever. Extremes are not very good.
Let me wrap this up by encouraging you, if I haven't already, to keep doing what you're doing, because the content that you're putting out is so much more different.
You said you said if you haven't encouraged me already, man, you're sitting here and you're interviewing me.
Well, you know.
Consider me encouraged.
Good. Yeah, good.
This has been quite the experience, especially since it's a little bit like, I wouldn't call it karma, because I don't entirely believe in everything about karma, but that's what it's reminding me of right now, because literally, not even a month ago, maybe it was a little bit, it was something like a month ago, this exact situation right here was kind of reversed, and I was trying to do this for someone else. So it's really nice of you to...
My pleasure. My pleasure.
I'm glad it all worked out. And it's been fun exploring because I've probably learned a little bit about myself, and obviously about you as well, just from this conversation, you know?
Yeah, good.
Educational all around.
Well, unbeknownst to the audience, but now they will discover, there is going to be a bonus track at the end of this interview, and that is the fact that you have agreed to react to a video that I have suggested. Mm-hmm. This video is one of the it's not a video, the song.
Yeah, the song. Yep.
This song, for me as a child, and by child I mean at least in my 10 years and up, is one of the earliest memories that I have of music that I remember loving to hear, loving to listen to, and in this day and age, when we can watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer anytime we want, back in the day, Daniel, I had to wait a whole year until Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer came back around. I could not watch it anytime I wanted to. So, all of that to say, radio play, you're just waiting for that one song. This was one of those songs that impressed me as a young boy, that I just loved. I loved the music. I loved the story. And when you look into the facts, I think you'll be impressed. And I picked it out. I had like 3 or 4 that I was gonna suggest to you. And I listened to this one. It's got guitar in it.
Saxophone.
It's got, so I thought, I think you'll like this one. So the song is Baker Street by Jerry Rafferty. And when you delve into your facts, you'll get all your nuggets on Jerry and his background. But all of that to say, thank you so much for the interview. Thank you for giving me the amount of time it took. Remember, I said it earlier, we'll need about an hour. We've done that. We've done, yes, it's been about 2:20. So,
oh God!
but it's flown by. It's been great, and I look forward to your reaction of Baker Street.
Welcome back, everyone, to another Dicon Dissectional production hosted by Red Hen Radio, and Deathstroke 9. Today we're going to be reacting to Jerry Rafferty, Baker Street. Hey, welcome to this channel. Not the channel, it's this channel. This other channel that's not the channel. But hey, if you're not subscribed to this channel, What are you doing? Come on, let's go. This channel, this awesome guy has told me that he's, interviews content creators, and if he's interviewed me, he knows how to choose his content creators. You know what I mean? So today we're going to be reacting to a song that holds personal significance to him, and I kind of want to hear it because, yeah, I've never heard of this artist, never heard of this song, and yet this video has 8.9 million views. So, here we are. This is a bit of a special reaction. Let's do this. Jerry Rafferty, Baker Street. As always, I've got the lyrics pulled up in one area, and I've got the video pulled up over here. If you're new to my style of doing videos, hi, my name is Daniel, also Deathstroke9, and I like to figure out what the lyrics mean, try to figure out what the meaning of the song is, and I just enjoy some great music. So if that sounds interesting, consider subscribing to my channel and subscribe to this one as well. Let's go. Jerry Rafferty, Baker Street, off the City to City album. Let's go.
So, as it happens, this represents 2 minutes of Daniel trying to get that video to play right, and it just took 2 minutes. Here we go.
All right, guys, we're going to start the reaction in 3, 2, 1. Baker Street, Jerry Rafferty. Let's go. Where are we going with this? Oh, nice saxophone. Nice soft rock, I love it.
Light in your head and dead on your feet. Well, another crazy day. You'll drink the night away and forget about everything. This city desert makes you feel so cold. It's got so many people, but it's got no soul, and it's taken you so long to find out you were wrong when you thought it held everything.
The regret.
You're trying now. Another year and then you'll be happy.
Oh, that's really sad.
One more year and then
kind of eerie
you'll be
music.
happy. But you're crying now.
It's like a riff almost. I love it.
Way down the street there's a light in his place. He opens the door, he's got that look on his face, and he asks you where you've been. You tell him who you've seen, and you talk about anything. He's got this dream about buying some land. He's gonna give up the booze and the one-night stands, and then he'll settle down in some quiet little town and forget about everything.
I apologize for that.
But you know he'll always keep moving. You know he's never gonna stop moving.
Sorry, gotta pause the videos at least once or else YouTube takes this stuff down. Alright, Well, the song is just about a street, pretty much, and it's about kind of a person who lives on this street, winding your way down. And it's an interesting song because similar to a lot of the Steely Dan stuff we've been listening to, it's in like the it's in the third person. It's looking at someone else. I think that's the third person. It's someone looking at someone else. That might actually not be third person. That might be the second person. First person's from person. Yeah, it might be called second person perspective because it's someone kind of telling the story of someone else. Winding your way down on Baker Street, light in your head and dead on your feet. Another crazy day. You'll drink the night away and forget about everything. Okay, so you're going to drink the night away and forget about everything. Interesting how this song like brings itself back full circle. The city desert makes you... So he calls the city a desert. It's a desolate wasteland with the bright lights that are supposed to kind of show you that this is a spectacle when really it's not. This city desert makes you feel so cold. It's got so many people, but it's got no soul. Yep. It's cold. It's like there is no standard. There is no heart. There is no compassion. It's cold. It's a dangerous world out there. It's taking you so long to find out you were wrong when you thought it held everything. You thought so you might have moved to the city because you thought it held everything. You used to think it was so easy. I don't know if that carries a bit of like sarcasm. It sounds almost like the person's like, you used to think it was so easy. You tell me you're gonna make it. You made me feel bad about myself and tell me that me thinking I shouldn't go to the city was stupid. Well, guess what? You're trying now. It's trying you. Another year, then you'd be happy. Just one more year, then you'd be happy, but you're crying. You're crying now. That's really sad. Way down the street, there's a light in his place. He opens the door. He's got that look on his face. He asks you where you've been. You tell him who have you seen, and you talk about anything. Interesting that he says you talk about anything, not everything. He's got this dream, so then it kind of shows you this another character, and they obviously know each other. And he's got this dream about buying some land, giving up the drink and the one-night stands. So he plays guitar or plays music, obviously. Then he'll settle down in some quiet little town and forget about everything. But you know he'll always keep moving. You know he's never going to stop moving because he's rolling. He's the Rolling Stone. And when you wake up, it's a new morning. The sun is shining. It's a new morning, and you're going home. Huh. It's like you finally leave. Wait, is this like about a woman who's with her man and he took her to the city or whatever? So then it's like you leave. Wow. I don't know if that's what it's about. That's what I'm getting out of it so far. Let's keep going. Baker Street, Jerry Rafferty. I like the song. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
He's rolling, he's the Rolling Stone. When you wake up, it's a new morning. The sun is shining, it's a new morning. You're going home.
Sorry about the glitching, guys. Sounds like feedback noises almost. It's making the music, although it could also be like a flute or something. A recorder. Yep. Go! It's like the coming to a decision. There's such a longing in the saxophone. Oh, is that the end? That is the end. Okay. Cancel. Come on. You know what I said. Thank you. Good song. All right. And yeah, it's interesting. It feels almost like it keeps I don't know. It feels as though there's a few different ways you could interpret it, and right now the story I've almost gotten is like, so it's a woman coming down on Baker Street, light in the head, dead on her feet. Another crazy day. Thinking that they're going to drink the night away. And then after maybe drinking, they start thinking about, it kind of loosens their thoughts a touch, and they're like, oh, the city's a desert and it's so cold. It's got people, but it's got no soul. And it's taken me a long time to find out I was wrong. And then it's almost like it could be that the person is kind of attacking another person, almost saying, you told me it was so easy. Another year, then we'd be happy. But I'm crying now. Or it could just be that it's like an outside voice telling her, kind of. So then down the street, there's a light in his place. He opens the door. He's got that look on his face. Maybe they don't have this much of a relationship, because a light on his place, he's got that look on his face. Asks you where you've been. You tell him who you've seen, and you talk about anything. He's got this dream about buying some land. Okay, I could be wrong. Because that line makes you think that they don't have a meaningful relationship. Like, they don't know each other super personally. They might be friends. All right, let's check out songfacts.com, see if it has anything to add to this. It's a good song. Saxophone was great. The guitar work was awesome. All right, let's see if this has anything to add. Oh, wow, charted second in the United States and third. Huh. Okay. It's the most sentimental of all Jerry Rafferty songs. It's about a man who dreams of owning a house and living away from his neighborhood, but he's a drunk and cannot achieve that goal. He drinks to forget what he doesn't have and never realizes he's a rolling stone with no direction. Okay? Rafferty was a member of Steelers Wheel. He had a hit in 1973 with Stuck in the Middle with You. His first band was a folk duo called the Humble Bums. His singing partner was the famous Scott comedian Billy Connolly. Baker Street is a real street in London. Rafferty often stayed with a friend who lived there. This song was the Scottish singer's first release after the resolution of legal problems surrounding the breakup of his band Steelers Wheel. In the intervening 3 years, Rafferty had been unable to release any material due to disputes about the band's remaining contractual recording obligations, and his friend's Baker Street flat was a convenient place to stay, as he tried to take himself away from his Steelers Wheel contracts. Rafferty explained to Martin Chilton at the Daily Telegraph, everybody was suing each other, so I spent a lot of time on the overnight train from Glasgow to London for meetings with lawyers. I knew a guy who lived in a little flat off Baker Street. We'd sit and chat or play guitar there through the night. In the last verse, he expresses his exhilaration as his legal and financial frustrations are finally resolved. Wow, I so didn't get any of this, but okay. When you wake up, it's a new morning. The sun is shining. You're going home. All right, Michael Raphael?
maybe? Raffle? Ravenscroft played the sax solo. Rafferty wrote the song with an instrumental break, but didn't have a specific instrument in mind. Hugh Murphy, who produced the track, suggested saxophone, so they brought him in to play it. He's played on records by Pink Floyd, Marvin Gaye, ABBA, Alvin Lee, and many others. Oh, that's interesting, some Pink Floyd. This was performed at the end of The Simpsons episode Lisa's Saxophone, where she receives a saxophone after her old one was destroyed. Okay. Interesting. It's interesting how many songs have been featured on The Simpsons. One of the most famous residents, yep, Sherlock Holmes. That's what I thought of right at the beginning. In 1992, the UK group Undercover reached number 2 on the British charts with their cover of this song. Their name was apt as their only other UK top 20 hit was another cover. Oh, wow. Alrighty then. The song is covered by the rock band Foo Fighters. They performed this song on occasion and released their version as a B-side to some releases of My Hero. Okay. 2007, the song was included on the 10th anniversary reissue. Okay, so it's like a... He was reportedly paid only £27 for his sax contribution. That check that he was given bounced, so the musician framed the useless payment and hung it on his solicitor's wall. Oh, that's horrible. Okay. He said the song riled him. I'm irritated because it's out of tune. It's flat, by enough of a degree that it irritates me at best. The period of 1977 to 1982 produced from very memorable soft rock songs that made their way on the playlist decades later. This genre became to be known, sometimes dismissively, as yacht rock, with this song often cited as an exemplar. More so than most, Baker Street resonates with listeners, drawing out strong emotions. Yacht Rock revenue guy told us about performing the song. Baker Street is really all about that sax riff, which actually is not an exceedingly difficult sax riff to play, but one that brings out emotions in people that they didn't think they had yet. It's very longing. You play that in front of a crowd of dudes who hadn't heard it perform live before, they just get wild. They get the crazy eye. When Ann Wilson of Cart, covered the song on her album Immortal, she included this elegant discourse. Who hasn't dragged their tired soul home after a long day of pounding the pavement in pursuit of some dream, when everything else had been tried, everyone talked to, everything possible done, your very best, most complete shots taken, yet still there are no takers? Such moments can be incredibly discouraging and depressing. All right. Wow, there's a lot of interpretations of the song, and none of them included what I said. So, yeah, that makes sense, what he wrote, because I was a little bit confused. So what he says makes sense. I still like what I thought as well. So, we'll see. Let me know what you guys think if you want down in the comments. And thank you for taking the time to watch this. I appreciate you spending some time with me. That was a good song. Wow, this video went on for a while. All right. Thank you for watching. Soft rock, yacht rock. Would that be with, is Steely Dan's music kind of in that softer rock category? At least the later stuff that we've been listening to, some of the more jazzier tracks. Maybe. It's a little more complex than that, maybe. I don't know. Let me know. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Deathstroke 9 out. See you guys soon.